we live already?
You're
Yeah,
live.
you're live.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes. So the long-awaited yes, the long-awaited talk on effective communication is here with us, and it's it's a really important topic that we're looking at today, which is effective communication. And it's it's very, very much important because communication cuts across every aspect of our lives as individuals, even as Christians. In fact, we need it much more as Christians so that we can, communicate and relate better with people. Yes. So it's not just enough to be able to talk and relate with people. There's a huge difference between talking and communicating. And that's why the organizers have deemed it fit for us to learn, and not just learn, we're learning from one of the best coaches on public speaking and effective communication. Now, before I continue, I'd like us to understand that because sometimes people will feel that they're good at communication, okay? That, okay, as long as I can speak, as long as I can talk with people or talk to people, then I'm good to go. But communication is much more, and it has to be effective for you to get maximum benefits, okay? And then when you're communicating, it's a two-way thing. So sometimes I'm saying something to you, I have something in my mind, and that may not be what you are, that may not be what you're receiving, okay? So it's very important that we learn this. And then I understand that effective communication is not just about shouting. Some people feel that because they are loud, so they are very good. And some people say, okay, because I speak very loudly, then I'm a public speaker, I know how to talk. All of this and much more is what we're going to be learning today from no other person than our very own Miss Chioma Nnanna. She's a coach, a public speaking coach. She's an author and a writing coach as well. She has won a lot of awards. And in fact, her profile is just so much. And good enough is that she's currently she's going to be hosting a new set of skill on public speaking and all that pertains to public speaking. So we're going to hear all of that from her today. So let's sit back and relax and make sure that you grab all that you can. And by the end of this session, we want to see improvements in our posts, in our communication skills and all of that. So join me to welcome Ms. Chioma Nnanna. Hello, ma'am. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that beautiful introduction. It's great to be here tonight. Like you said, my name is Chioma Nnanna, and I'm going to be speaking tonight on the topic effective communication. But first of all, I have a little bit of I want to appreciate the admins of this group for inviting me here tonight. And I wrote down my appreciation. It's a special one. So just permit me to read that. Greetings, great mind. Extending my profound love and appreciation to the quintessential admins of this great group for giving me an avenue to vocalize to you tonight tops my priority. Thank you for the opportunity and unalloyed support. Thank you for the supercalifragilistic expeditious programs you've been organizing from time immemorial. I appreciate immensely. Am I communicating somebody?
Sorry. No,
No. Why?
I'm hearing some words that, and I don't know. I don't know where they're coming
So
from.
you're saying that I'm not communicating because she could not understand what I said.
Yeah, couldn't understand some of your words,
Great.
and yeah.
Great. That's what I wanted to establish at this beginning. I want this class to be very, very interactive, to be very, very practical. So I was just basically thanking the admins of this group, but then I used words that I knew that generally people would not understand. And that's what a lot of people do. When you're trying to speak to people, they're trying to impress people instead of focusing on passing across their information. And then the communication process is not complete unless there is understanding. Once there is no understanding, what you're making is noise. You are not speaking to people anymore. You're no longer communicating. As far as you're speaking to people or you're writing, because we have different ways of communicating, either sign language, written form, orally. But as far as the person you're speaking to, the person you're communicating to does not understand what you're saying, what you're making is what? Noise. Have that at the back of your mind. Have that at the back of your mind whenever you have to communicate to people. Once there is no understanding, what are you making? Noise.
Noise.
Okay? What you're making is noise. You're no longer communicating. I'm sure we all have that friend, like I have that classmate. Once he's speaking to you, instead of saying I'm hungry, he will say I'm famished. I'm famished is even a very light word. He would use one word that you start looking for your dictionary. And people are like that. We even have one of them in our house of assembly. They use big words, they use very verbose language, and then they take away understanding from the communication process. And therefore, what they are doing is making noise. As far as there is no understanding, you are not communicating. If you don't understand anything tonight, just take that one home and you are done. Understand that whenever you have to communicate, let your focus be on ensuring that your message is understood. If not, what you are making is noise. Now, there could be different reasons why your communication process might not be effective. Now, it could be either you're using ambiguous words, like I explained earlier with my practical example. Okay, that might greeting. Some of the words safe, I'm trying to understand what I was saying. I'm trying to understand what I was saying. It could either be because you use verbose words, you use very, very big grammar, you use ambiguous words, or it could be that there is a misunderstanding, there's a break in transmission. No, not even a break in transmission. Basically, is a misunderstanding. For example, I'm saying something to you, but you are interpreting it as something else. I think you mentioned that in your introduction. Now, let me give you a very practical example. I love giving examples that will stick to your mind, something you can understand. Now, what comes to your mind whenever you see somebody? Okay, I wanted to show. Whenever you see somebody drinking from a red cup, if you see me drinking from this red cup, what comes to your mind?
Wine.
I'm drinking
Wine.
wine, I'm drinking alcohol. Okay? But then
Yeah.
I might be drinking water from it. So now we have what? Different perspectives. So you want to ensure that whatever information you're passing across is what the other person is interpreting it as. So I don't end up trying to communicate, oh, I'm drinking water, I'm thirsty. But they are thinking she's drinking alcohol. We are not communicating. What we are having right now is what? A misunderstanding. So you want to ensure that when you're communicating to people, they understand exactly what you mean. That is when your communication is what? Effective. Now, tonight, communication is very, very broad. We have different ways of communicating, but I'm going to be narrowing it down to public speaking because if I touch all areas, we're going to stay here tonight, tomorrow, till whenever. So I'm going to focus majorly on public speaking. And now I'm sure you're excited to learn about how to become a better public speaker. And I know that public speaking is something that you cannot run away from in life because at one point in life or the other, you have to speak to a group of people. Even as a student, during your class presentations, your project defense, if you start working at the office, if you want to become influential in life, people are going to invite you to come and speak to other people, to come and share your story. And if you don't know how to master your stage, if you don't know how to speak clearly, how are you going to achieve that? Are you going to make a mess of yourself? So you have to learn how to do that now. And tonight I'm going to be going into that in details. So now, whenever I talk about public speaking, there is something that you must always talk about, and that is stage fright. Stage fright is the fear of public speaking. It's like the number one fear in the world. There's even a study that said that people fear stage fright. People fear public speaking more than they fear death. Like there was this analogy that at a burial ceremony, if they had the grave and they had the lantern, that is like the pulpit where the preacher would stay, more people at that burial would prefer to be inside that grave than to be on that place speaking. And that is how crazy the fear is. It sounds unbelievable, but it's actually true. People fear public. Some people wet themselves just by asking them to go and speak to people. You see choristers run away from that front mic because they are scared. Now, I want this to be very, very interactive, to be very, very practical. So if you're live and watching us and you have stage fright, I want you to comment, tell me why you have stage fright. What is the reason you're scared of going on stage to speak to people? And I believe, Joy, you can see the comments, right?
Not, no, no, not on
Wow.
this end.
So how are we going to know if you're commenting? Okay, I think I'm just going to go on. I'm going to be telling you reasons, general reasons why people might have stage fright and how you can overcome that stage fright. Okay,
I'm here, okay?
so
So I'm
I've
Okay,
had
available.
Dr.
stage fright.
Promise will be,
What did you
Dr. Promise
say?
will be sending you some of the questions, right?
Okay, so just let them comment, tell us reasons why they have stage fright. So I could be telling you how you could tackle it, how you could get rid of it. Because let me tell you, many of the great public speakers you see today, they once had stage fright. You know Warren Buffett? Have you heard of him before? Warren Buffett.
What? Yeah,
Warren Buffett. Have you heard of him before? If you've not, okay, you've
yeah.
heard of him. He's an amazing public speaker, celebrated worldwide. But should I shock you? Warren Buffett once had stage fright. Terrible one. At a point, he even registered for a public speaking class, but then he dropped out before he even started the training. That was
Wow.
how bad it was for him. But today, he's an amazing public speaker. So no matter what reason you have for being scared of public speaking, if you put your mind to it and work on it, you could overcome it. Now, let me talk about the reasons why people have stage fright and how you can overcome it. Now, people have stage fright maybe due to a negative feedback they've heard in the past. Now, that was my experience. If you follow me on social media, you must have heard this story over and over again. But I'm going to share it again for the benefit of those who have not heard it before. Why I had stage fright was due to a negative feedback I heard. Right from childhood, I always loved public speaking. I just loved the idea of going to speak to a group of people and having everybody focus on me while I shared my own ideas, my thoughts. It just always thrilled me, made me happy. So when I still had the end of the year party, I volunteered to read the news, and I was so excited to do it. But then my teacher said no, and I did not know why. Until a classmate of mine told me that my teacher said my voice sounded local. I was in primary school, and this was my favorite teacher to make matters worse. So you can imagine how broken and shattered I was. That could have made me hate public speaking. Imagine someone in formative years in primary school, and then from someone you admire so much, my favorite teacher, telling me something like that. It crushed me. Like for years, I was so conscious about the way I spoke. It made me, what's the word right now? It made me scared. It made me self conscious. But then I overcame that fear eventually. Now, what helped me? Two things. Just in case you've had negative feedback before, let me tell you what helped me and what could help you. Two things helped me. Number one, I've come to understand that whenever people give you negative feedback, sometimes just ignore the hurt you feel and then ask yourself this $1 million question. Is there any truth? Is there any iota of truth in what they've said to you? I know they said the feedback in a terrible way, in a mean way. They could have said that thing in a nicer way, but the damage has been done already. So yes, they said something very, very terrible, but is there any iota of truth in it? Now the goal is to take those bricks that they threw at you and then build a castle with it and not bury yourself. They've thrown bricks at you already. Instead of burying yourself, use those bricks to build a castle. That's what I did. I realized that truly I used to mispronounce some words. Like instead of me to say remove, I would say remove. So by the time you put a cluster of wrong words in a sentence, my voice would definitely sound local. So I began to take conscious effort to pronounce my words correctly. For a long time, I could not even speak pidgin English because I was so focused on pronouncing my words correctly. Right now, if I speak pidgin for you, you will laugh. My pidgin get K-leg. Very, very awful because I was so focused on getting it right. I had negative feedback, but then I did not allow it to stop me. I looked at the feedback, saw the message in it, worked on myself, and today I'm better for it. I'm happy. So if you've had negative feedback, maybe they told you your voice sounds local like me, or your voice is somehow, or they told you one terrible thing, ask yourself, is there any iota of truth in it? If there is, work on the truth, become better for it. Okay. And then the number two thing that helped me was that I realized that nobody, absolutely nobody, has the right to give you any tag or label. You decide who you are. She cannot tell me that I cannot become a public speaker because I have a local voice. No, that is her definition of who I am. But it does not have to become my own reality. I define who I want to be. And I want to become a public speaker, and I'm going to work for it and go and get it. So nobody should give you a negative feedback. Okay? You alone have the right to give yourself tags and give yourself positive ones. Today, I tell myself I'm a great public speaker, and now people are telling me the same thing. So give yourself positive tags. Do not allow anybody to label you. Do not allow anybody's negative mindset to influence how you see yourself. Okay? Now, another reason why people might have stage fright, apart from negative feedback, is that maybe this time around, it's not what they told you, but what you experienced. Maybe you went on stage and you had a terrible experience. As you were coming down from stage, you knew that you messed up. You knew that it was not only you that was on stage, your very people followed you on stage too. You knew you messed up big time. Like this one is not somebody telling you, so you knew it by yourself. You knew it. You just know that you messed up. Now, this might dissuade you from going up again. So you tell yourself, oh, this thing is not for me. I will never, ever, ever, ever climb on stage. You went to do moderation in church and then you messed up. Say, never. I will never moderate in church again. You sang in chorus and your chorus was, I don't know. Only you were singing in the church. And you told yourself, never again in my life. Never
Yeah.
again are you going to cross that street. But you're not helping yourself. Let me tell you what one thing you don't know. Whenever you have a terrible experience, okay, you might not have gotten it right, but now you know how not to get it wrong. You know the mistakes you've made. So next time when you're going on stage, you do not make the same mistakes. Let me share my own personal experience. Like I want this class to be very, very practical, very, very interactive. Even though I cannot see your feedbacks, I want to tell you things I've experienced, not just theories I read in a book, but things that have actually worked for me. I won the Aftermath Orator Challenge in 2019. But then in 2018, I participated in that same challenge. And then I did not even carry third. I did not even have any position. I just took, I didn't win. I did nonsense. I did rubbish on stage. Like I went there and did nonsense. But then after that experience, did I not say, okay, never again will I try for any public speaking competition? No. I learned from my mistakes. Okay, this is what I did that was not good though. This is what the winner did and she got it right though. This is what so and so did. I learned from the mistakes. That the next time I went back for that competition, I did not come third. I did not come second. I came first. I won. And like I used my mistakes as stepping stones. So whenever you have a terrible experience in the past, do not allow it to dissuade you from going again. Use that negative experience to know what not to do the next time you go on stage. Keep learning from your mistakes. Mistakes are part of life. Learn from your mistakes so that the next time you go on stage, you have better public speaking performances. Okay? You have better public speaking performances. I've forgotten this one thing. I wanted to mention something very important, but it just escapes my mind. Okay. Mistakes are part of life. That's the truth. Mistakes are part of life. But just learn from your former mistakes and ensure that the next time you're going on stage, you do not repeat it, but now you work on it. Yes, I remembered what I wanted to say that I forgot. I say this all the time, and I think you should note that down. Public speakers, the great public speakers, they are not made behind the stage. They are not made by running away from the stage. They become better public speakers by continuously going on stage, continuously practicing. Michael Jordan made a statement. He said that he has become a success because he has failed several times. There are times he's a basketballer. There are times he has gone to pitch the ball and he has missed several times, more than 20 times. But people don't remember the mistakes he made before. We remember the success he has made. So yes, you might have gone on stage and messed up several times. I've messed up several times. But now I know how not to mess up again. Oh my goodness, my lightning just became bad. So I have technical issues over here. But you can still hear me clearly, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I think I will just continue even though you cannot see me. Hopefully, I will be able to sort out that and then turn on my camera again. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I was talking about making mistakes as a public speaker. Even though you make mistakes, learn from them and move on. Can we get the comments for those that talked about their reasons for having stage fright so that I could answer them before I move on?
No comments yet. No comment on that yet.
Okay, no comments yet.
Okay, no comments yet. So I'm going to go straight to what we have today. Now, what I
No.
want to talk about on public speaking today, I'm going to be telling you the little things people overlook that could make all the difference in your public speaking performance. Let me talk about secrets of public speaking. People usually expect you to mention something great, something amazing, something like, okay, bring 3 cows and 3 rams to sacrifice to the gods. But it's just simple things you overlook that could make all the difference. These little things you overlook, and that is what makes the difference between amazing public speakers and newbies, because they pay attention to these little things. These little things are the secrets. These little things are the secrets of amazing public speakers. When I talk about them tonight, I want you to pay attention to them, and they're going to help you when you implement them in your next public speaking performance, your next time you have to speak to people. Now, what is the number one? Number one thing is that whenever you're going to speak to people, you have to understand that whatever you expect from your audience has to begin with you. If you expect a lively audience, you have to speak with excitement. If you're speaking so dull, like, good morning, everybody. What I have to talk to you today is on
Mm-hmm.
public speaking. I sound so dull. It's going to be hard to have my audience excited. So if I want to have a lively audience, if I want the energy in the room to be fired up, it has to start from me. How is my voice like? What is my voice pitch like? How do I look like? Do I sound enthusiastic about this topic, or do I sound bored with it? If I'm bored with it, come on, my audience will press their phones in my presence. They will start dozing or they'll start going to the restroom. So to have your audience captivated, it starts from you. What energy are you giving out? So the energy in the room is always what this word transient, like it starts from you and flows to your audience. Whatever vibes you're giving off, your audience will pick up on it. If you're giving up energetic vibes, your audience will pick up on it. If I sound so dull, many of you will have logged off already by now. But because I sound like, oh yeah, this is very important, I like this topic, I love public speaking, I love talking about it. And so it makes you interested in knowing more about it. Okay? So whatever you expect from your audience, give them an example of what you expect. The energy you want to see in your audience, reflect it first of all. Okay? I hope I follow you. I hope you can see me clearly.
Very well.
What did you say?
I said very well. We're following.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Now, number two, you need to master the art of storytelling. You need to master the art of storytelling. Storytelling is something that every public speaker should learn. Do you know why? Stories make your speech memorable. I'm sure that 2 weeks from now, many of these points I might give you, you might not remember even one of them, but you will always remember the story I gave about my primary school teacher. That is the power of storytelling. They stamp
Yeah.
your speech in the mind of your audience. Some of you, after Sunday service, you might not remember the topic of that Sunday light, though, but you know the story about that woman that your pastor talked about. You remember the
Yeah.
stories that were told. My favorite lecturers are people that tell stories. They make lecture lively because when you talk about facts and figures all the time, it begins to take the life away from whatever you're saying. But stories make your audience relaxed. They begin to imagine things. It draws them into your story. It makes them curious. I say this all the time that there's a little amebo spirit inside everybody. Everybody has that small amebo spirit. You want to know what's happening to other people. And now there are stories everywhere. You tell stories about yourself, stories about other people. Don't say I'm so young, I've not experienced anything in life yet. No. Most of the stories I tell are stories about my childhood. You just have to find a way to creatively tell your stories. Find a way to draw lessons from your life experiences. We all have stories to tell. And in case you actually look at your life and you feel it's so boring, look at other people's life. There are stories around you. There are stories you could tell about people that would help to embellish your presentations. Tell stories. Like there's a rule for public speaking. Do not make a point without telling a story. And do not tell a story without making the point. That's the storytelling rule. Do not make a point without telling a story, and do not tell a story without making a point. That's the public speaking rule. Stories make your speech come alive. Stories make your presentation come alive. It makes your audience more interested in what you're saying. Like we all relax, like, oh, I don't have to think about this so much. I don't have to enjoy the presentation. It makes it enjoyable, makes it memorable. Now, what makes a presentation amazing is when after that day, can I remember what you said? And stories help you to achieve this. Months from now, you remember the story about my primary school teacher. You might forget about storytelling, you might forget about excitement, you might forget about stage fright, but that story will be in your mind. That is the power of storytelling. They make your speeches memorable. Now, the next thing you should do, these are, I'm telling you about little secrets, little things that make all the difference in your public speaking presentation. Now, number three is practice till you can present your speech like you're having a conversation. Practice till you can present your speech like you're having a conversation. Practice, practice, practice. Like you need to practice till you are comfortable, like till you can speak like you're talking to your friend, not like you're a robot. Speak till you practice till you can present like you're just chatting with your friend. That is how your speech should become a part of you for you to have the effect you want. That's why we have many of our Nigerian politicians. They speak like robots. They even read their speech, and that one is even the worst. When you are reading your speech, it's terrible. Someone like me, I will not even listen to you anymore. So you need to work on your presentation skills. Practice till you can present your speech like a conversation. And now, when you're practicing, we hear people tell you all the time that practice in front of a mirror. I don't I don't advise that at all. I don't advise that you practice in front of a mirror. No. I advise you practice in front of a camera. Record yourself practicing. Do you know why I advise this? In front of a mirror, when you turn, you might not be able to see some of your demonstrations. There are some things you might miss out because you're so focused on seeing your reflection in the mirror. But when you record yourself and then you begin to watch your performance, you're able to point out your flaws better. When you record yourself, you can see, oh, was I too fast? Was I too slow? Because if you are too fast, you cannot hear you. Someone like me, I speak really, really fast on a regular day. So whenever I practice, I'm like, oh, Chioma, you have to slow down your pace. Slow down your pace so they can hear you. Or if you are so slow, you know, oh, I have to pick up my pace now because if you are so slow, you bore your audience. And then you have to know if you are speaking way too loud, like you're shouting at me. Uncle, it's not an argument, we're not fighting. So you have to know if you are speaking way too low, way too quietly, then we cannot hear you. And then I tell people that value is only appreciated when we can hear you. These are things that recording your rehearsal will do for you. Helps you to know how you sound like to your audience. Are you too fast, too slow, too loud, too quiet? And it helps you to know if you're using filler words. Now, for some of you that might not be familiar with this term, filler words are what people use when they are thinking of what next to say. For example, the things you say when you are scratching your head, thinking of what's next to say. And filler words are a total no-no. Filler words are terrible for your performance because they make you sound unsure. They water down on your credibility. They make you sound like you are not prepared enough for that presentation. So you want to cut down on your filler words. And recording a rehearsal will help you to point out this. Because when you record your rehearsal, you begin to hear the amount of times you use filler words. And then you begin to make conscious efforts to cut down on the rate at which you use them. Another way to cut down the use of filler words is the clicking technique. That's when you ask a friend of yours when you are presenting to click their fingers. So then anytime you use a filler word, so if you're saying they're clicking their finger, they're clicking their finger, by the time they click their finger up to like 5 times, it begins to draw your attention, begins to distract you, and you begin to realize, oh, I'm using this thing too much, and then you make conscious efforts to slow down the rate at which you use it. Okay, and then when you record your rehearsal, also you begin to notice some things like, have you ever written a story and then you read it through and realized that you missed out some words? You thought you wrote those words, but when you read through, you realize that you don't actually write down those words. Same thing happens in public speaking. You might have thought you said some words, but then you actually did not say those things. But when you record your rehearsal, you begin to realize, oh, I did not say this thing. So when next you are saying it again, you pay more attention to that part to ensure that you pronounce that word. These are things recording rehearsal does for you. I don't advise rehearsing in front of a mirror. Mirror does not really help you a lot. Your camera is what helps you. Before I came to speak to you tonight, I already rehearsed in front of my phone. I recorded it to see how I sound like, to hear how I sound like, see what I look like, to know my facial expression and all that, to make sure that what I'm going to do here, I've already practiced it properly. Mirror will limit your rehearsal, will limit your preparation. So record your rehearsal. All right.
Yeah.
And now when you're rehearsing, I give this RRR formula, which says rehearse, record, and repeat. Whenever you have a presentation, rehearse, record it, repeat the process until you are satisfied with your performance.
Okay.
Now the next point we're going to go to is, whenever you want to practice, I'm still on practicing before I go back to the next point. Whenever you have to practice, don't practice from a verbatim presentation. Don't practice with verbatim presentations. Like, for example, some people, when they want to speak to people, they write out every single thing they want to say. That does not help you at all, because you become tempted to read out what you have to say. Become tempted to read out what you have to say. And someone like me, if you are reading out, you've lost me. You've lost me. Omo, I've jackpot. I've left you. I've left you sis. So you have to ensure that you practice from an outline. What do I mean by an outline? Write out point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, my intro, my conclusion. That's all. So you all, and then, okay, I want to tell a story about my primary school teacher. I might write a story, I might write primary school teacher, just to jolt my memory back. I don't have to write out everything I want to say. Just highlight my main points so they can serve as a guide for me. Not that I will write out my speech word for word. You sound like a robot, you sound like a lecturer, you sound like a politician. So just highlight your main points to guide you. I don't have anything against politicians though, but our Nigerian politicians can make you hate public speaking. I remember listening to Buhari's speech after EndSARS. Omo, everybody wanted to jackpot. That his speech brought the spirit of traveling. Be a Buhari kind of speaker. So you want to learn how to speak to people properly. Use an outline to rehearse, not the full-fledged speech. Okay? Now, whenever you have to present to people, I advise you focus on 2 core areas, your introduction and your conclusion. Why do I tell you to do this? Your first 30 seconds and your last 30 seconds are so important, because people will judge you within that first 30 seconds to determine, oh, should I listen to her to the end or should I tune off? So whatever is going to come out of your mouth for your first 30 seconds, make sure it is something that will captivate your audience. Now, there are different ways to start your speech. You can start with a rhetorical question. Now, for those of you that do not know what a rhetorical question is, it's a question that does not demand an answer. It's a question that does not demand an answer. For example, Why do human beings? I'm trying to find a very, very good example of a question that does not demand an answer. Why do we dream? Are dreams reflections of a past life, or are they predictions of the future? That could be how I want to open my speech. I'm asking a question, but I don't want my audience to answer me. Now, the aim of asking rhetorical questions is to get your audience thinking. Now, one of the things about public speaking, one of the important things about public speaking is that you want to engage your audience in your speech. Because if they are not engaged, they'll be distracted. You want to engage them either verbally, physically, or mentally. Now, rhetorical questions engage them mentally. They might not answer you with their mouth, but they are thinking about your questions. And therefore, they are a part of your speech. They are captivated at the beginning already. Okay? So, rhetorical questions help you a lot. It's an amazing way of beginning your speech. It gets your audience thinking. Now, another way to begin your speech is to ask a yes or no question. Now, you're asking a question and demanding a response, yes or no.
To ask.
Yes or no questions. They help. So if you're not asking a rhetorical question, you could ask a yes or no question. Now they begin to respond to you.
Okay.
And this helps a lot. Okay. So if you don't want to even ask a yes or no question, you could start with storytelling. Now we're back to storytelling again. It's a beautiful way to start a speech. Like personally, I watch a lot of public speaking videos. I've watched most of the world champion of public speaking videos, and I can tell you what am I saying? I can tell you like every single one of them I watched use storytelling. Every single one of the world champion of public speaking used storytelling, no exception. Every one of them used storytelling in their speech. So you can see how powerful storytelling is. Storytelling is so powerful. So imagine using it at the beginning of your speech. It should just hook your audience. Like I told you, we all have a little spirit of amebo inside every one of us. We want to know what is happening in people's lives. So when you tell stories, you have my attention. I love stories. Everybody loves a good story. Okay? So apart from rhetorical question, yes or no questions, storytelling, another way you could start your speech is to use presentation. That is, you could ask to your audience to help you with a demonstration. Now everybody begins to ask what's happening, why is she asking us to get involved. Now they all pay attention. You know, I've pressed my phone before, but then you ask people to come out to help you with something. You have my attention. I begin to focus on the stage, what's going on there. So it's another amazing way of starting your presentation. Or you could use a prop. Now, what's a prop? A prop is an object that helps the public speaker to drive home their message. Like, for example, I showed you a cup, a red cup at the beginning. That is a prop for me. Okay, that's a prop. It helps me to pass across my message properly. I've seen public speakers use underwears. I've seen them use horse. What's this word now? Is it horse boy? No, cowboy boots or cowboy outfits to as their props. I've seen a world champion of public speaker use cigarettes as his prop. He was trying to pass across a message. So you could use different things, a variety of things to draw attention to you. Now, props create curiosity because props are they look weird, they look out of place. You're wondering what he or she doing with that object. How does this thing relate to this speech? And then by the time you begin to explain, you have them hooked and listening to you. Okay?
Yeah.
So we have, I'm sorry that you cannot see me. I wish you could see my facial expressions, but I hope my voice is doing justice.
Yeah. You're on point.
Okay. So now there are a number of ways you could present your speech, but we're going to leave most of that out. Let me just move over to how the conclusion part, like I told you, focus on two areas: how you begin your speech and how you end your speech. Now, why should you focus on your conclusion? There's a theory that says, there's a theory of recency. Now, theory of recency says that people remember first whatever you say last. Note that down. The theory of recency says that people remember first whatever you say last. So that means your ending statement will most likely be what your audience will go home with. So you want to ensure that what you end with a bang, as Brian Tracy would say, end with a bang. Now there are different ways to end your speech with a bang. You could end with a quote, a catchy quote that summarizes everything you talked about. It just gives your speech this powerful aura, and then everywhere is lit up. Or you could end with a very creative story. Storytelling again. Storytelling comes in every part of your speech. You come at the beginning, intro, everything. Or you could end with a summary, but do it creatively. Maybe just highlight your first point, second point, third point, fourth point, and then give us a recap of all everything you said before, and tell us the action point you want us to go and do when we get home. Okay, so end your speech with a bang. That's focus on your intro and focus on your and focus on your conclusion. These are two very key areas in speaking to people. Now, one thing that I want to talk about now is when we talk about public speaking, people want to imitate other public speakers. Have you ever listened to somebody speaking before and then you begin to feel awkward for the person? You begin to feel sorry for the person because you can just tell that this person is not being his or original self. He or she is trying to imitate somebody and then it makes it awkward. Have you ever listened to that kind of speaker before?
Yes.
I've seen people like that, and then you begin to feel sorry for them. You know that this is not the person. The person is just trying to be who he or she is not, and then it ruins your whole performance entirely. Now, I've given you tips, giving you everything, but the best tip I can give you is that when you go on stage, focus on being yourself. Two things you should focus on: being yourself and giving value. Take your mind off trying to impress people and focus on being true to yourself. Do not try to fake an accent. Come on, this is one thing I don't use the word hate because that's a very strong word. I dislike it greatly. When you begin to fake an accent, you sound so fake, you sound so funny. Like I'm just like, what's going on? I begin to focus more on how you sound instead of focusing more on your message. You speak through your nose. You sound so fake. It ruins your performance. It could turn off a lot of people. If I'm in your audience, you've lost me. If I'm in your audience, you've lost me. You're not a Ghanaian, but you're speaking, hello, everybody. You've lost me. So speak with your original voice and be true to yourself. Now, when I talk about being true to yourself, I'm going to give you an example. We have types of public speakers. Okay, we all have our own way of public speaking. We all have our own style of speaking to people. And then you have to find out which style you love the most and then focus on learning from those public speakers that are established that reflect your style so you can learn from them. What do I mean by? Let me give a very practical example. I saw this thing, somebody explained it on YouTube. He gave an example of, imagine an R&B singer trying to sing country music. How is it going to sound? Let me give an example now that I even formed on myself. Imagine Mercy Chinwo. Can you imagine her trying to rap? Can you imagine Mercy Chinwo trying to rap? Just picture it. Can you picture it?
I
I
can't.
can't. I can't. And that's what some people try to do in public speaking. They try to imitate speakers that do not reflect their own personality. You're not a rapper. But then imagine a rapper now trying to sing R&B. There's a disconnection.
Or
So I'm going
blues.
to tell you the types of public speakers we have and then tell you, then you find out which one you belong to. I'm going to give you other public speakers that reflect your style that you can learn from. Okay? Now, types of public speakers we have. We have the mentor or advisor type of public speaker. Now, this type of public speaker, whenever they speak, naturally, they cannot just help but give you advice. Once they are speaking, you find yourself giving advice to people. If it is you, know that you fall under the mentor advisor type of public speaker. Once you open your mouth to speak, you're advising people. You cannot just help it. It's just your own way. You're always giving out words of advice, how to live your life, how to do this. You are a mentor advisor type of public speaker. And let me tell you, if that is your style, go and follow Tony Robbins. Follow Tony Robbins. It's going to help you a lot.
Toby
I watched a
Robbins.
video on this. Yes, I watched a video on this. So I'm going to be giving you a list of the public speakers he mentioned. Tony Robbins is going to help you a lot. If that is your style, if you find that you're the kind of public speaker that loves giving advice, follow Tony Robbins. Now we have number two. We have the charm or humor public speaker. Now this kind of public speaker, once you're on stage, you just naturally crack jokes. You are a funny person. Once people hear your voice, they are laughing. You are a naturally funny public speaker. I have people like that. That once they speak to me, I have a lecturer, Dr. Ebeze. Once he's in class, I love his lectures. I will laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh till we end the class. He's just natural. He doesn't have to fake. He doesn't have to learn it. He just comes with his personality type. Now, if you're that kind of public speaker, then you want to follow Ronald Reagan. Once Ronald Reagan is speaking to you, you're laughing. He just cracks jokes. If he's speaking to you, he must crack a joke. It's his natural personality. If you're that kind of public speaker, follow Ronald Reagan. Humor does not come easily to me. I'm not a funny person. So I cannot really, so Ronald Reagan is not my type of public speaker. I cannot say, let me try to imitate him. I would mess up. I will be speaking to you and then only people will be laughing. Have you ever cracked a joke that you're the only one laughing? Nobody else is laughing with you. You're laughing at yourself with yourself, for yourself, by yourself. So know which kind of public speaker you follow in that, and then follow people like that. Or if you're the kind of bold public speaker, this is my type of public speaking now. I love you're bold, you're confident, you believe in whatever you're saying, you speak with so much authority. Then follow Gary V. I cannot pronounce his surname, so I call him Gary V. His surname is Viz. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Venechuk. It's one Russian name like that. But just look for Gary V. He's an amazing public speaker. If you're a bold, confident kind of speaker, like whenever you speak with so much authority. You speak like you know what you're saying. You speak like you don't care what people have to think, what people have to say. What you're focused on is passing across your information. Then follow Gary V. You will enjoy public speaking if you learn from him. You'll become a better public speaker. Follow him, learn from him. Okay? He's not going to change who you are. He's going to just help you to become better at what you naturally do. Then we have number 4. We have the motivational kind of speaker. This type of speaker, now, whenever you speak, you end up making people feel fired up. Once you speak to people, they feel like, let me go and crush this dream. Let me go and crush this goal. I need to do this today now. I need to finish this project right now. You are the kind of speaker that makes people get fired. You make people to feel excited. You make people to feel, I can do this. I can achieve this. That's the kind of speaker you are. You're a motivational kind of speaker. Then you want to follow Mike Dicta. Mike Dicta. The Dicta is spelled Dikta. Mike Dicta. You want to follow him. It's going to help you. You will learn a lot from him. Now, one thing about public speaking is that you have to watch a lot of public speaking videos. Learn from them. Dissect their performance. Whenever I have public speaking classes, one of the things I do in my paid classes is that I bring videos of public speakers and then we begin to dissect these performances. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? What made their performance better? Why do you like this performance? What did he say? How did it start? What made it stand out? So you need to watch a lot of videos of public speaking. And then we have the storyteller and public speaker, storytellers. Like once you are speaking, you cannot just help but tell stories. You have a million stories to buttress every point you make. Chimamanda is a perfect example. I've watched Chimamanda's stories, videos I mean, and every time she has a story. She has at least like 3 stories to tell you for every speech. Always stories to tell. Every time she has a story to tell you. So if you're the kind of speaker that you love telling stories in your speech, then follow Chimamanda Adichie, watch her videos on YouTube, download them, drink them, eat them, sleep with them. They will help you a lot. And then if you're the kind of speaker that once you open your mouth, you cannot just help but try to sell something. You are an incredible salesman. You are always selling something when you are speaking. You are talking, before you know it, you've taught them how to buy your book, how to buy your toothpaste, how to do this one. Always talking about how to sell. Then you want to follow Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett can make you to buy one bag of pure water every single day for no reason. For no reason, he will just convince you that you need to be buying one bag of pure water every day, and you will buy it. That is how powerful he is. He's a powerful salesman. So if you're that kind of speaker, follow Warren Buffett. It's going to help you to improve on your public speaking. And then we have the technical speaker. Now, this kind of speaker, you pay attention to details. Whenever you speak, you are focused on the facts, the figures, the minor details that people might overlook. You are focused on the intricate aspects of your speech. Then you want to follow Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a kind of detailed public speaker. They pay attention to details. Follow him if you're that kind of speaker. Then we have the philosophical speaker. You make people to question things. You begin to ask yourself, do I truly die? Why is man like this? You begin to ask so many questions. You are philosophical. You read a lot of philosophy books. You question things. You question why is the cloud blue? You always have a question for every question. Then you want to follow Phil Jackson. Okay? You want to follow Phil Jackson. Now, one thing I should point out here is that although you might feel drawn to one public speaker and to augment your speech, like I mentioned, that storytelling is something that every public speaker should know how to do. So even though storytelling is not your core strength, you could learn from Chimamanda how to tell better stories. You could learn from Gary how to be more confident. But then you have your own original voice. You just learn and borrow from these people to become better. That's why you now have a wholesome performance. Do you understand? So you have your
Yeah.
own voice that you're focusing on becoming better at. You're not trying to change who you are, but then you learn from other people to augment the areas where you have lapses so you can become a better and amazing public speaker. The truth is that the act of public speaking is something that can be learned. I say it all the time. The greatest public speakers, they are not born, they are made. The greatest public speakers are not born, they are made. So everybody can become a great public speaker. All it takes is practice and having an open mind to learn, working on yourself daily. I was not this public speaker I am today 5 years ago. I became this public speaker over the years, practicing, learning. Okay? Please let me fix
Yeah.
something over here. Okay,
Sorry.
I'm back. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to fix something. I had a technical issue, but now it's sorted out. So, as a public speaker, open your mind to learn. Once you're open to learning, you will find yourself growing. I don't know if what time we're supposed to wrap this up. Is there a time frame?
Dr. Promise? Dr. Promise.
Let her take her time to do what she knows how to do best.
Please take your time.
I don't understand.
Please take your time.
Okay, so I say have time.
Ah,
I say have time to speak.
yeah, just go ahead and dissect all that you have to give to us.
Okay, thank you so much. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you have questions for now. We'll continue, but let me just take some questions. I think there was a question that Dr. Promise dropped in the chat box. Let me
Yeah,
address that one.
there are
The person
questions.
said, I'm always afraid of making mistakes. Okay, I've seen the question.
Okay. Then in addition to that question, one of the reasons that I can point out is the how do I put it, the status of the people you're talking to. Oh, she's off.
She'll be back. So, Joy, continue.
Yes. Okay. So while we wait for Miss Shoma. I hope we're all noting the points so far. It's been really enlightening. I mean, my notes is so filled up already.
Okay, you can
From the
hear me
fact
now.
that, yeah, okay, thank God you're back.
Okay. So I was asking about questions.
Yes, and I said in addition to that question of I have stage fright because I'm always afraid of making mistakes. There's
Okay.
also the fear of the status of the people who are in front of you, like the people you're talking
Uh,
to, you're seeing, or the CEO of this company, the general manager of this, different, high caliber of people, and then they're all seated before you, and you're wondering, what do I know? Okay, no matter how much you've prepared, and you're like, hey, God, these people know better than me. So yeah, that's one of the reasons for stage fright that I know.
okay. Let me address this one first. I know many people have this issue. They feel like it's called inferiority complex. It's not humility to me. You just have an issue of inferiority complex because you're like, okay, these are MDs, but strip away the MD title, strip away the CEO titles. Those are human beings. They are what? Human beings, basically. That is who they are. Strip away all their titles, strip away the pastor title, strip away the age of your audience. They are still human beings at the basic level, and that's how you should look at them. And the fact that you're on stage means that there is something you know that they don't know, even though they have time, even though they are older than you. There's a reason why you are on stage and they are down there listening to you. So just go on stage and focus your mind on delivering value. Focus your mind on giving them whatever you've prepared to say already. Do not allow yourself to be intimidated about do not allow yourself to be intimidated with the caliber of audience you're speaking to. No. That's why as a public speaker, one thing you cannot do without is confidence. But confidence is very, very important as a public speaker. It's something you cannot even say, okay, I might have it, I might not have it. It is a must. As a public speaker, you must be confident because surely you want to speak before kings. You don't want to always speak on Facebook. You don't want to always speak on WhatsApp. You want to speak before kings. So you have to have, you are praying for things that you are not prepared for. You've not prepared yourself mentally. That is a mental issue, something that you have to work on your mindset. I am worthy to speak before these people. I don't care who I have to speak to. You have to speak to Obama today. I'm going to speak with confidence because strip away the title. He's just a man. Strip away the title. He's a man. He's a human being like me. So you have to go with that kind of mindset. Okay, so you don't allow yourself to be intimidated. And then I tell people all the time that your audience are not against you. Have you ever gone to listen to somebody and then you're there waiting? Let me wait, let her make mistake. We are not a wish. Why will you stay there? Your audience are not waiting for you to make mistakes. They're not waiting for you to make flaws so they can point out your errors. They are there to listen to you. They are there because they want to get value from you. Trust me, those CEOs and MDs, they are busy people. They could have been anywhere else. They could have been at home. They could have been resting. They could have been working. But they found this reasonable. They found you valuable enough for them to sit down and listen to you. So that should boost your self-esteem. That should boost your morale a bit. That they saw something in you to listen to you. They could have been anywhere else, but they found you valuable enough to listen to you. That enough should boost your esteem. And then remember that they are what? They are human beings like you. Forget the titles. Forget the titles. They still sneeze like you. They eat like you. They cry like you. They sleep like you. They don't sleep with their leg in the air. They sleep like you. So they are still human beings. You just focus on doing what you are called, what you were sent to do on stage. Give them value and get out of there. Forget about who you are speaking to. Okay? And then the second question you asked, person was like, forgotten the question. What was the question again?
I'm always afraid of making mistakes.
I've answered this question at the beginning. Mistakes are part of life. Right now, many people are so scared of making mistakes that they end up making mistakes. Your fear of making mistakes wants to help you to make more mistakes. You're so scared of missing out what you will say that you end up forgetting your whole speech. Right now, I don't bother so much about perfection. I want to do my best, yes, but I understand that even with all my preparation, I might not have a flawless performance. But then whenever I don't have a flawless performance, I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm going to work on. I'm going to become better next time. Okay, you don't become an amazing public speaker in one day. And this person that's saying that I'm scared of making mistakes might not have spoken throughout this year. Your fear of making mistakes keeps you behind the stage, and you don't become a better public speaker behind the stage. You become a better public speaker on stage by going there to speak to people. That is how you become better, by always showing up. You might fail, you might make mistakes, you might forget your lines, you might stammer, you might make a fool of yourself, but you are going to become better. You're going when you continually do it, you become better, you become more comfortable, you become more confident, and then your mistakes begin to become become minimal. My first performance was not like this. So if some of you are comparing your first performance to established public speakers, but you forget that these established public speakers, they've given more than 1,000 speeches before. So you cannot be comparing your own first time on stage to somebody's 1,000th performance. Like, I don't understand. How are you thinking about it? What's going on? Like, how? I don't understand. Like, what's going on? Why are you comparing somebody's 1,000th performance to your first one? Ah, you will say, no, we do be that. How do you want to do that? So be willing to make mistakes. It's going to happen. I told you that the first time I participated in a public speaking competition, I did not carry third or more. I did not have any position. But the second time, I came first. I learned from my mistakes. Mistakes are part of life. So be willing to make mistakes. Don't allow your mistakes to hold you back. Okay? So do we have any other question?
Yes, someone is asking. Um, I have a question from this stage fright. I wanted
Okay.
to ask, um, how do you handle intimidation? Sometimes you are on stage, but you know that, um, and then part of what you want to say is going to, I don't know, maybe somebody in the maybe in the congregation or right there in your audience has given you an intimidation, maybe like threatened you behind, and then you come to stage, you don't want to say something, so it's affecting um your speech and all. So how do you handle it? And then you're seeing the person, and the person is even giving you some, if you say this, if you do this, I'm going to, how do you handle that kind of situation?
That one is even behind the stage, Abby. My own personal experience was that I was on stage. I was speaking. It was a competition. And then can you imagine that the opponents, it was my school and that school, we had a competition. Not even my school, it was inter school, they're different schools. So during this stage, I was representing my school. Then I was speaking, only for the students in the other school to repeat after me as I was speaking on stage. Like imagine speaking on stage and somebody repeats what you're saying loud enough for you to hear. Like they were mocking me. And at the point I became just like, what's wrong with this one's name? I looked at them and then I was confused for a bit, but I gathered myself together again and then I continued my speech. And I was happy that at least we won the competition. So all their beef was in vain. So people could actually try to intimidate you even on stage. They could be giving you bad eye. They could talk about they give you this stink eye, like try and say that thing. What you do is that why are you looking at them in the first place? When they did that thing to me, I removed my eye from them. I did not even look at them again. I focused on people that were in my school. So, okay, if you're a public speaker, you have to know how to focus your attention, do selective perception. Focus on those that are giving you the kind of energy you want. Focus on those that are encouraging you to say what you want to say. Focus on those that will help you to boost your confidence. Don't focus on those that make you feel intimidated anymore. And then I want to talk about this issue very well because when we say focus on someone that makes you feel confident and makes you speak on, people end up focusing on just one person, and that is wrong. People recommend this a lot, but I say it is wrong. Because when you focus on just one person, that one person will become awkward. I can't imagine being in an auditorium and they are focusing on only me. I will become uncomfortable in my seat. Like, why are you looking at just me? Am I the one you're speaking about? Is it my life story? So you
Yeah.
want to focus on like three, four people. Focus here. Look at one person here. Look at one person. Look at one person here. Let your eyes dance around your audience, but focus on the friendly faces. Ignore those ones that are frowning. Don't even look at them at all. Ignore those ones that are frowning at. Don't look at them at all. And then when you focus on only one person, everybody else becomes like, what about us? Why are you ignoring us? So you want to ensure that you don't focus on just one person, but you focus on those that encourage you to speak on, encourage those that encourage you to be confident in your message. And if you've gotten a threat backstage, I don't know what the threat is about. Is it that what you're about to share is going to implicate the person that threatened you or something?
Yeah.
And that is a different matter. That's a different matter. That one becomes, I don't know. This one, I think I'm going to hold on and answer that one. Let me think about it for a while. Then I'll go back to it. Let me answer that question. I'll come back to this one. I don't want to just give you an answer from my head that might end up putting you in trouble. So let me think about that one for a while. Then I'll come back to it.
All right. Then someone is asking, you mentioned types of public speaker. We have about eight of them. Yes. And then someone is asking, can one be three in one or two in one type of public speaker?
Yes,
Like,
you can have a combination of many types of public speaking. You could have a combination of many types. For example, I'm the bold kind of public speaker. I'm also, let me go through the list. I'm the bold type, then I love the storyteller type, and then I love the mental advisor type. So bold, storyteller, mental advisor. So you could have a combination of three, four, or more, but there's going to be one that's going to be more prominent. Just like we talk about, what's this word? We talk about, is it personality? I've also going to talk about sanguine, melancholy, and co. What is that word again? What do
temperament.
we temperament?
Temperament.
Thank you very much. You have a dominant temperament. For me, I'm a dominant choleric. That's my dominant temperament. I'm choleric, but then I have a bit of phleg. That's the second temperament I have. Then I have a bit of melancholy, sanguine. So we might have a bit of all four of them as a normal human being. You have a bit of all four of them, but there's going to be one that's going to be dominant. Then you have second one that is the next in line. The same thing about this public speaking. You have the one that is more dominant in you. You have one that people see readily, one that you notice that comes to you more naturally than others. Then others are just like complement. They help to spice of representation. Because imagine being a public speaker and then you're only bold, you don't tell stories, you don't know how to break the ice with humor, you don't know how to crack jokes here and there, you don't know how to give take home points, do this, do that. You're going to have to blend some of these things at one point in your speech, but then you have your main personality traits. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So someone is asking, for someone who is not good at storytelling and yet wants to be a public speaker, what's your advice? What do you think
You
such
learn.
person should do?
You learn. That's the simple truth. There's nothing you cannot learn once you put your mind to it. You have to learn how to tell stories. Personally, storytelling is not something that really comes to me. I just like to give people facts and figure. I like to just give you points. Do this, do that, this. But I find out that storytelling helps to make your speech come alive. So I learned the act of storytelling. I tell stories more when I'm writing. When I'm speaking, I don't really tell stories. Because I don't like talking about myself. I only talk about myself when I'm writing. When I open my mouth to speak, I have to talk about myself. Just give you a facts and then go your way. Everybody should go to their house. But I have to learn it. Something you have to learn. Like there is nothing. Once you know something is important to you, you learn it. You learn it. That's the simple truth. Just learn it. Put your mind to it. I don't crack jokes up, but I know that I've cracked one or two when I'm speaking here. Something you have to learn consciously. Practice it. I'm not a naturally funny person. I'm not funny. See my face, I look so serious. I'm a serious person naturally. But then I have to learn how to be a bit humorous, to break the ice, to make people feel comfortable listening to me. That's the thing about public speaking, to stretch you. It's not easy, it's not just to talk. Talk is speaking in public is not about just knowing how to open your mouth. Wow. It takes you knowing some of these things, putting in the effort. That's why everybody can speak, but not everybody is a great public speaker. That's what differentiates amazing public speakers from just every other person. We all talk, except you are dumb. If you're not dumb, you talk, but it does not make you a great public speaker.
Okay. Yes. So we have another question. There are public speakers whose facial expressions people don't welcome, but yet he or she has content. Please, what do you think could help?
Same thing work on it, but there are some people that's your facial expression that does not look welcoming. Some people that will like it. Some people like serious looking public speakers. And people are like that. Some people like pastors that have this strong face. They feel it means they are born again. So you might, like, as a public speaker, you're not for everybody. This public speaker that I mentioned now, Tony Robbins is an amazing public speaker, but not everybody likes Tony Robbins. So you have to find your audience, find those that like you. So if you don't want to work on your facial expression to learn how to smile, I have to learn how to smile though. On a normal day, on a normal day, I don't smile like that. I don't smile. When I first got admission, people were always telling me, Choma, smile now. There's one brother always, once I enter church like this, he will tell me, Choma, why you not smiling? Choma, smile. I have to learn it. I learned a lot of things. This is not the original. This is not how I was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I learned because I know these are things that are going to help my performance. These are going to help me in life. It makes it for people to easily. These things make people to just relax and make them easily accept what you're saying. When I smile, tell me now, you're not listening to me better. You feel more comfortable with me as I'm smiling, but then if I do like this, so this is what I'm talking about tonight. Take it or you leave it or I'll shoot you. It's a different thing. But there's no people that like serious public speakers. So find your own audience. Jokes apart, find your audience. If you don't want to work on smiling, there are people that will like you for being a serious person. Must I speak like a British person to come? I've told you no. No, 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 no. You don't have to fake an accent. What you focus on in public speaking is pronouncing your words correctly. That's what I focus on. Pronounce your words correctly and clearly. Forget the accents. Forget the accents. Chimamanda Adichie, is she not a Nigerian? Does she speak like an American or a Briton? She speaks like a Nigerian. That's it. And people will love you when you are real. People can smell a fake person. If you fake an accent, I can smell it irritates people, it pulls people off. You don't bother speaking like a British person. You are not British, you're a Nigerian, or more on your Niger style. Just ensure you're pronouncing your words correctly. Don't say remove when you should be saying remove. Don't speak like a 5-year-old me. I learned, I've moved on. Okay, just focus on speaking, pronouncing your words correctly. That what should be on your mind. Pronounce your words correctly. Forget about the accents. Forget about the phonetics. Once you pronounce your words correctly, you are good to go. I have stage fright all the time because I feel everyone is looking at me. You're on stage, people will look at you. Okay? People will look at you. Now, let me tell you, I'm not going to pretend like I've not gone through this stage before and then just tell you, face it, do like that. No. When I first spoke in church, my former church, when I was a child, during the Children's Day, we usually have this presentation where one child will be asked to preach in the adult church. So imagine me speaking in the adult church like I'm preaching to mommies and daddies and everybody. The first time I did that, even though I was excited, like I told you, I've always loved public speaking as a child. But then when I got to the stage, I could not look at their faces. I was looking above their heads. It helped me to cope with that first time. But then the next time I came to speak, I was now more comfortable. I had prepared myself, I had spoken to my friends, learned from them. When I came back the next time, I came back from the pulpit, was giving them mic. That's how comfortable I became. So the first time, if you are scared about people looking at you, you might try to just look above their heads. Try to distract yourself from focusing on the fact that all eyes are on you. Find something to distract yourself. You could find anything to distract. Maybe you could just maybe that first time, maybe look down on the pulpit, look down on your book, focus on one person. Not I don't not just one person, so the person does not become uncomfortable. Focus on like 3 people, 5 people. Find out what you can do the first time you're on stage. Then with time you become more comfortable. Okay. And for someone like me, whenever I have to go on stage, I do some, what's the word now? I do some pep talks to myself. I remind myself why I can do this. I use Bible verses for myself. Because some of you might be that you listen to motivational songs. Tell yourself what songs that will make you feel fired or songs that will boost your morale. Maybe you listen to motivational talk. If you like podcast, listen to your favorite podcast. Whatever that will just boost your self-esteem, your confidence level before going on stage. People looking at you should not really be an issue. But if it's an issue for you, find ways to distract yourself during that first time. Then with time you become more comfortable with it. And then don't run away from it. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it. Remember one time that I had to answer question in school. Like when I stood up, I realized that my legs were practically shaking. It was the first time in my life I experienced that thing. I only used to read about it, but this was the first time I was seeing my legs shaking. Like I was like, what's happening to me? I realized that I was scared, but I was suppressing the fear. I was not accepting that I was scared, but my body was reacting to it. I was shaking. When I even sat down, my leg was still shaking. So you might be scared about it, but do not allow it hold you back. Face your fears. Do it over and over again till you become comfortable with it. Okay, you mentioned that we should follow one mic. Please, can I have the full name? Okay, I said Mike Dicta. Dikta. Dikta. Mike Dicta. Okay.
Okay. So we'll be rounding off soon. So I have these questions that I'd like us to round up with these questions. First of all, after much practice, sometimes mistakes still happen. So my question is, what should one do? Sometimes you practice, and then you get on stage, and you know it feels like, did I not practice well enough? Or you know and then another question is, how do you eliminate filler words? Is it completely possible to eliminate, like,
I think this person joined us late, so whoever that asked this filler words question, because I addressed it at the beginning, right? I addressed filler words, how to eliminate filler words at the beginning. I talked about the recording yourself, the click techniques. This could help you when you have filler words. Okay, and now filler words might not be something you eliminate overnight. With continuous practice, it begins to reduce. And then don't just focus on eliminating filler words when you have to speak to a group of people. Focus on eliminating it in your everyday conversations. When you're speaking to your friend, resist the urge to say because when you go on stage, at a point in your speech, you become relaxed and they begin to speak casually. So if you are always using and in your regular conversation, it will affect you on stage. So you want to reduce the weightage to your regular conversation so that even when you have a proper public presentation, you do not get tempted to use filler words. Cut it down in your regular conversations. Like I told you, use the click technique. Have a friend whenever you are rehearsing, click his or her finger whenever you use filler words. By the time you clicks the finger like 5 times, it begins to draw your attention to the fact that, oh, I'm using this thing way too often. And I have to cut down the rate at which I use it. Okay? And it helps a lot. It helps a lot. And one thing that will help you whenever you want to use filler words is that just pause. Sometimes you don't have to speak, just shut up your mouth, just close your mouth. Whenever I have to use filler words, I just keep my mouth quiet because use filler words when I'm thinking about the next thing to say. Whenever I have something next to say and I'm thinking about it, I just keep quiet. Silence can help you a lot. Just keep quiet. See, I'm quiet. I'm thinking, I'm quiet. I'm not saying I'm quiet. It will help you to eliminate filler words. And silence helps public speaking, will help you in public speaking a lot. Because it makes your audience, it draws their attention. They're like, she's about to say something that is very, very important. Let me pay attention to her. And then they begin to pay attention to you more. So use silence instead of using filler words. It helps you. But then you have to know how you use silence. It does not become awkward silence. And then begins to give you another issue that you have to start with. Everything is about moderation. Do everything in what? Moderation.
So about the after much practice and then mistakes still happen.
Okay, okay, about the mistakes part. One thing you should know is that I tell people that I don't know whether the mistake is like you forgot your speech. Is that the angle it's coming from? Or you, what's the mistake? What kind of mistake?
Okay, forgetting a
Because if
part.
it's the fact that you forgot your speech, I say it every time. I said it during the first few talk we had. Your audience do not have a written copy of your speech. So if you forgot your lines, they will not know you forgot your lines. So just move on with your speech. The only way they will know you forgot your lines is when you let them know by scratching your head. You're beginning to look confused. So it's your facial expression and your body language that's giving you away. Not even the fact that you forgot your speech. I forget my lines almost every time I speak to people. Okay, it happens. But then I move on because I know that okay, I still have an idea of what I'm supposed to say. That is why I say don't cram your speech. Practice till you become familiar with the words you have to say. Don't write out your speech word for word. Use outlines to practice. Because if you practice word for word and then you cram it, if you forget one word or more on your own, you are a blank book. You are in trouble. So don't that instead in an example when you cram your answer in an example you forget everything and then you're in trouble. Same thing with public speaking. Don't cram your speech. Just use your outlines to rehearse. Know what your main points are, and then you fill it up when you are speaking to people. Fill it up when you are rehearsing. That's way even if you forget your lines, you have an idea of what you're supposed to say, so you can still deliver an excellent performance. Okay, I think that helps, right? If it's the area of forgetting your speech, unless you're referring to any other mistakes that do not come to mind right now.
Yes, thank you so much. So finally, you spoke about speaking with your original tone, being yourself, and not imitating another person.
Yes, you know one of
Now,
the troubles about speaking with a fake accent. One
yes,
of the troubles is that when you speak like that, you are not able to sustain that accent. At one point in your speech, your real voice will come through. And then it begins like, am I listening to two people? You cannot maintain a fake voice forever. Even if you maintain it throughout your speech today, tomorrow, you might not be able to regain that same fake voice you used. You begin to tune your voice. This is not the voice I used yesterday. Let me tune it small. You might not be able to retain that particular accent. And then it begins to cause what confusion. That then begins to become more of an oh, she picked an accent, she's trying to tune. And then people will become tuned off. That's one of the issues about voicing a fake voice. You cannot maintain it throughout your speech. But then you become comfortable, your real Nigerian voice will come out.
okay, okay. So how do we now bring it into watching and following the types of public speakers that you've
You are
mentioned?
learning their styles. You are learning their style. You're learning the things they are doing. You're not trying to copy their voice. It's not their voice you're copying. Gary V, you're learning how Gary V manages to speak with too much, how he manages to captivate his audience, how he starts his speech, how he ends, the things he does right, how he manages to get the audience to focus on him. You're learning Chioma Nnanna's storytelling. How did she infuse her story? How did she end the story? How you're learning strategies from them. You're not learning how to speak like them, like per se. They're not learning how to imitate their voice. You're learning strategies from them. What did they do right? What made people to see them as amazing public speakers? What how can I become better like them? They're not trying to learn the things that they did right and replicate them. They're not trying to sound like them. I can never sound like Joy or Lady Cat. I am Chioma Nnanna. But I can learn from you. Oh, I love, like for example, you just spoke over. Like, oh, I love the line she used there. What did she use? Metaphor. Okay, I think I'm going to try to use metaphor in my own lines too, and then I'm going to replicate it. That's what I'm talking about the public speaking. You are learning, oh, this is the way she talked, this is how she started her story. So interesting. I'll replicate something like that. I have a similar story. Okay, so I'll tell the story from this point of view, from the third person point of view, first person point of view, second person point of view. And then this is what makes my story to come alive. Oh, she was demonstrating with her hand. When she said run, 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 she did her hand like this. They're going to learn this kind of point, not that I want to sound Gary V. No, 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 no. Yeah, you don't have their voice. Own your voice. Okay? I hope I cleared that.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful one. I mean, see, my book is filled up. So, um, to round up this session with you, can you just give us a summary and tips that we would remember? You said to end every speech, we should always do it with a bang, something that will stick. So, are you giving us a summary or a quote or a highlight? I'm trying to remember the things you've said, okay, or a story. So, which one are you dropping as a bang?
Ending with a summary. Just give you highlights of everything I've talked about. I told you about becoming to communicate effectively. You have to ensure that what there is understanding. If I'm speaking to you and you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm making what noise. I am not communicating. For communication to be effective, there must be understanding. And I don't want to. I want to ensure that there is no misunderstanding. Like I gave the example of the red cup. I don't want to. If I'm drinking water from this cup, but they are thinking I'm drinking alcohol. We have a misunderstanding. This communication is not what effective. What I'm trying to pass across to you must be what you understand my message as. I don't want you to misinterpret my message. If you do that, then there's what we have noise. That's not effective communication. And we talked about it when it comes to public speaking now. We talked about the ways, the little things people overlook but could make all the difference in their public speaking performance. We talked about ending your speech with a bang, starting your speech, talked about storytelling, talked about the types of public speakers and how you can learn. All these things are very, very useful. But then the most important of them all is owning your voice. There can never be two Chioma Nnanna. There can never be two Barack Obama. There can never be two Chimamanda Adichie. So the best way to be a public speaker is to own your voice. And then one tip I'll give to you before I go. This tip I've given it before, but I'm going to round up with it, and it's going to help you. Whenever you speak, do not go with this mindset, oh, I want to get a standing ovation. If you do well, you could get a standing ovation. Do not go with the mindset of, I wanted to clap for me when I'm done. If you do well, they will clap for you. Go there with the mindset that I want to give value. I want to teach them something. I want them to learn something. Go with a giving mindset, like Simon Sinek will say. I love Simon Sinek. He's a public speaker I follow because his type of public speaking is that he advises, he gives you facts, he gives you straight, he goes straight to the point. And that's kind of public speaker I am. He goes straight to the point. Simon Sinek is someone you can follow. So if you're that kind of public speaker. But the public speaker, go with the mindset of giving, not with the mindset of receiving. Do not go with the mindset of trying to receive applause or clap or standing ovation. Go with the mindset of giving what value. Let them learn. When I was coming to speak to you tonight, I was focused on ensuring that you learn so much about communication. You learn so much that when you have to speak to people, people are like, she has improved. He has improved. And that for me is the ultimate fulfillment of becoming a public speaker.
Thank you so much. Sorry, uh, the camera just went off. Trying
Okay.
to, yes. So thank you so much for that bang. We definitely will not forget to own our voice, and also remember that once understanding is taken out of any communication, then it is
It becomes
noise.
noise.
Yes, I won't forget that. It's a bang. Thank you. So yes,
You're welcome.
everyone. Yes, we're coming to an end of this session. Would like Ms. Chioma Nnanna to tell us about this upcoming skill initiative that borders on effective communication in terms of public speaking, spoken word presentation, and the rest of that. It's I've been hearing testimonies, and I said to myself, this November I want to be a partaker. So tell us about it so that we can key in.
Okay, I organized an advanced training for people. It's called the Advanced Skill Up Initiative. It's a 1 month training on creative writing public speaking and spoken word. And it is very, very intensive. We have classes 3 times in a week: Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Then the other days are for your classwork, your assignments, and then you submit them. Now it's very, very practical. We are hands-on. During the creative writing class, after teaching you about creative writing, you have to participate in a writing challenge. Now we want you to be very, very practical. So when you write during this challenge, I criticize your works. I point out your errors. Tell you, oh, this is how you can do better. This is how you can become better. These are the mistakes you made. And then when you have the public speaking class, after teaching you about public speaking, you have to participate in a public speaking competition. It's an exclusive competition for only people that participate in my training. It's called the SLAP tournament. Speak like a pro. This tournament is to ensure that you become comfortable with speaking in front of a camera. Now you have to make videos and post on Facebook. That's the aim of the slap tournament. By the time you make your first video, make your second video, third video, you realize that you've become better at public speaking. Like for me, I don't believe that you become better at public speaking by just getting theories. I could tell you all these things, but until you make your first video, you will not become better. The only time you see real growth is when you practice public speaking itself and then you get constructive feedback. I tell you, oh, I don't like the way you started your speech. Do it like this next time. The way you ended was not cool. Do it like this next time. Why were you so fast? I could barely hear what you were saying. Do it like this next time. That's how you get feedbacks on your videos during the slap tournament. And then you could win awards. We have positions for the first, second, and third. Then the last training during that advanced club initiative is the spoken word training. And during the spoken word training, after teaching about spoken word, you are taught how to make your own spoken word videos. Like I posted on my timeline videos for my participants, the videos they made on spoken word, and they were amazing. Very, very nice videos. You know how to make your own videos yourself, edit them. So you don't have to keep paying video editors and stuff. And then we have the examination. During the examination, after the examination, we have the best graduating students, and then you win a cash prize of 5,000 naira. You get a certificate, then you get a chance to work with me. You become like my PA. We work hand in hand together. And during the training, I don't just teach you about these 3 skills. I teach you how to make money from these skills. Like I say all the time, I earn a living from writing. My skills pay my bills. My skills are the reason why I can subscribe. Okay, like today now, I've made evidence to be quiet, but public speaking, creative writing, spoken word, they are lucrative skills that can earn you a whole lot of money. But you don't have the knowledge about it, and that is why you might not be making money from it. So I do that. It's a bonus training. It's not even meant to be part of the training, but I just do it out of my own good heart. I teach them how to make money from these skills. And then after the training, you get certificates. I don't give certificates for my free training, only my paid trainings. You get certificates for these trainings. And they are valid certificates that you can use them anywhere. They are very, very, they are valid. Okay. So that's basically what training is about. It's 1 month training, practical, intensive, and everything. And it's actually 25,000 naira, but the early bird fee is 5,000 naira, and it has ended. But for the sake of those watching tonight, if I hear, okay, I watched you tonight, and I just found out about your training now, and I want to participate, I could permit you to still pay that early bird fee for 5,000 naira instead of paying 25,000 naira. It has ended already. But for those watching tonight, you can pay 5K. And the training is starting on Monday. So we are ending registration tomorrow. By 11:59 p.m. tomorrow, every registration will end officially. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for giving me the platform to talk about this training. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much too for coming and dishing out these wonderful tips free of charge. I mean, free of charge. Thank you so much.
My
So,
pleasure.
yes, so Watchman Young Adult Forum, thank you for staying with us. And I believe that we are better for it and that we're going to see improvement in our communication, in our writing, our posts. Sometimes I see some posts and I'm like, what? This is a Watchman Young Adult. Okay, so with this, I trust that we're going to be better. And also, let us take advantage of this training that is going to commence on Monday. you don't get such things for that amount. So let's grab it. Thank you so much, Miss Choma
Thank
Nana.
you. Thank you. It was nice having you tonight. You're an amazing host.
Thank you.